Michigan State University police have released a note found on the gunman who opened fire on campus last month, killing 3 students and wounding 5 others. The note, dated February 12th, the day before that shooting, claimed that Anthony McRae was working with a group of 20 others who would shoot up other targets. However, police said there were no other shooters and there was evidence that he did work alone. McRae said in the letter that he was a loner and an outcast and had a lot of other things to say. To help analyze all of this, I want to bring in Dr. Carole Liebermann, a forensic psychiatrist and expert witness. As always, Carole, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Looking over this note here, obviously it was not released, I would say, within the last hour or so here. What came into your mind? What was the first thing that stood out to you?
Well, there were 2 things. Well, actually 3 things. First of all, he described himself as a person, who a lot of other people could fit in that description. Not the violent part necessarily, but I mean the part about feeling alone and everybody hates him and all of that. There are a lot of people walking around feeling that desperate. But the other thing that came into my mind is that even though they say that the investigators have looked into it, no, there couldn't be 20 other people. I wouldn't be so sure. I hope they're doing more investigation. But most likely, I think it might well be because an uncle at least has said that he thinks that he was schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic. It might well be that he was referring to 20 people, that are visual or auditory hallucinations, who he does talk to.
And what's interesting in a case like this, unfortunately, we may never get answers, mostly because obviously, the shooter there is not alive. This note was found on him after he was located by police there. So there's a lot of unknowns. And honestly, in a case like this, we may just never get the answers that we're looking for.
Yes. And it doesn't mean just because there weren't people who did anything, since this shooting a month or so ago, it doesn't mean that they're not planning it down the road. But I really do think it probably more, I hope it's more a figment of his imagination. The most interesting, the note is very interesting, and clearly he knew. I mean, he wrote this note on purpose, knowing that they would find it when they shot him. He was looking for suicide by cop. When he walked away nonchalantly from this, and of course they eventually found him because they identified his clothes and what he looked like and so on. He wasn't trying to run away. But key thing, and not a surprise, when I was looking into this, I was looking through a whole bunch of articles and so on. It turns out, lo and behold, that first of all, this all started after his mother died. He was a mama's boy, and his father said that when his mother died a few years ago from a stroke suddenly, that is when he quit his job and he stayed home playing violent video games. That is the key. I was saying before that there are a lot of people walking around feeling desperate, unloved, angry, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I can't get ahead in this world, and so on and so forth. And then if they stay home and they play a lot of violent video games, decades of research has shown that violent video games, the more violent media you consume, the more aggressive you become. And so you take someone like this, it is typically people who are sort of outcast because they're the ones who are at home having a lot of time to play these violent video games. Then, lo and behold, he gets a gun. And it was very much like a video game. He's shooting, walking down the street and shooting people. It was like he was playing a video game.
In your experience, are you surprised that MSU police went and actually released not just the contents of the note, but the note itself?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that perhaps they're trying to give an explanation for why they shot him, or why he was looking for suicide by cop. It is personal, but nowadays people are releasing all kinds of things. So it's not really that surprising. But just going back for a second to the violent, and the reason why I'm sticking on this violent video game issue is because I was the chair of the National Coalition of TV Violence, and we studied all kinds of media violence, including video games. And I testified before Congress several times on the danger of violent media and especially video games. And during COVID, when people were at home having more time to go on the internet, there were many more people who spent many more hours playing violent video games. And now the phenomenon is called bedroom terrorists. And now they're unleashed into the world, and they're expressing their rage. And not all of them are going to shoot up schools or supermarkets or whatever. But, we are seeing more domestic violence, more violence, road rage violence, airplane violence is totally out of control. And so, those are examples of all of the violence that is so stored up in people after those 2 years of lockdowns.
So do you think that during the lockdown, obviously we're talking, several months, in some cases more than a year for some people, that people were, I guess, playing video games, or were just in general becoming more loners? They spent a lot of time by themselves. You saw people's wheels turning there. Does that play any kind of role in this in general?
Yes, all of us have been hurt, whether we played violent video games or not. All of us have been hurt by the lockdowns. We have become less human in a sense. We feel more awkward talking to each other. We are less connected to each other, in terms of empathy and so on. So yes, that plays a big role in it.
All right, Dr. Carole Liebermann, we love having you here on the show to help break things down for us, especially when you're talking about situations like this one. Anything else that you do want to add about this before I let you go?
Well, just that, it really kind of shows that we should all make a little more effort to be kinder to each other, because you don't know what someone is feeling. And really, it doesn't take any money. It doesn't take time. A smile even would really help a lot.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.